Hey, it is 10:13 on Wednesday morning. Boogie with the Bull Wednesday morning caffeine on the device somewhere near you. I am Dave Woolen up in the upper right hand corner. My partner in crime, Randy Rose. Special guest Jen Woodruff, the old the old school mom, is with us today, fresh off of 237 total views of her discussion about Romania. Excuse my voice, the Romanian Revolution and working toward Robert's coming to the United States last night and going into his feelings on communism as well. Jen Woodruff hosted that interview. I was on screen, but I was not really doing anything related to the interview directly or talking in the interview. I was just sharing it around the internet, having a good time doing that. So let's see. We'll go. Chad, why don't you say good morning and opening testimony that you have, and then we'll go to Randy and we'll just all talk at once and have a good time.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Good to see you today. And I was excited yesterday to see that it's so bad. I'm happy to see the enemy failing. And it's, sorry, the economy is the enemy right now, and it's all because of Joe's fault. And they're bringing out they brought out yesterday a washed up has been. Bless his heart. I liked him as an actor, but my gosh, does he hate Donald Trump. Robert De Niro in New York. So he is standing. I wish he was standing on a box. Poor guy didn't have he's very short. He did not have his platform shoes on. And he is just giving this does. He's an actor. He reads scripts. So he memorized the script and he got up there and he basically said everything terrible he could about Donald Trump, but it didn't really sound like he was talking about Donald Trump. He was talking about how the economy was so bad and um he was talking about Biden. He was talking about Biden's failures, but he was saying it was Donald Trump's. And it was funny because in the back
Are we having audio troubles this morning? Jen, you there? Did you freeze? We are plagued with audio troubles coming in sometimes. We're plagued with freezing this morning. Jen, one more time. Jen. All right, Jen, do this. If you can, come back in, and we'll try to go from there. Randy, I guess you're up.
I am up. Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You can hear me. Let me adjust my.
Today, Boogie with the Bull Wednesday morning caffeine is sponsored by Verizon. The Can You Hear Me cellular phone company.
Can you hear me? Yes, you can. Anyway, so exciting. I got my monitors all up and running. They're all queued in. We have some agents out in the field. They're anxious to get on board here to start talking about different things. Well, I was doing some research only because when I turned on my computer this morning, the very first thing I saw was about the royals and how poor Meghan and Harry are so poor and they're not making any money and they might have their royal titles taken away from them, but fear not, because they can make up any title they want because they're royal. So even if Prince Harry has all his royal duties and names and bullshit taken away from him because his mommy was a princess, he stays and has royal blood flowing through his veins. He can maintain his royal name of Prince Henry Charles Albert David. And that's just the first half of his name.
Actually, I'm not 100% sure he can.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right here.
Because
Prince Harry's full name.
Right, but because their marriage was annulled, which means basically their marriage never happened, then that would mean that in theory, if their marriage never happened, they never had kids. It doesn't mean that they didn't
Wow.
have
Okay.
kids.
If you want to
It's just-
split
But
hairs,
also the queen, who's the ultimate decision maker, took it away from him. It was Charles who, I guess, after Elizabeth died, wanted to bring him back into the family and didn't have much luck. Or Harry claims that he didn't have much luck. Harry was in England at one time, called his father, and was only able to leave voicemail, and evidently
right.
couldn't get through to his father, so said, "The hell with this, I'm going home."
Right. Yeah, but needless to say, though, I mean, you know, paperwork and legalese aside, the blood that flows through his veins was half of Diane's and half of his daddy. So he does have royal blood. So if he wanted to get hold of a good attorney, he could go by that name, which means that Meghan could be identified as Princess Henry if she chose. But being the woke lady that she is, I doubt she's going to take a manly name. But they're still making money. I mean, they're you know, they got things, you know, going with the production companies and talking engagements. So they're by far not going to be broke or having kind of money issues or housing issues.
No, they're not. But also, I believe Elizabeth stripped Andrew, Charles' brother, of his royal title out of him being embroiled in the Epstein mess. And I don't believe it affected their daughters because I don't believe it affected their daughters because their daughters, if anything happens, are they're in line to become the queen. If anything ever happens and it gets down to them. Also, they're twins, so I guess how do you decide who becomes queen first? I mean, one of them comes out before the other one with twins. So is the one who came out first, is she going to be queen before the other one? Or if they both actually miraculously came out at the same time, holding each other, would they both be co-queens? I know I'm taking away from your point, but go ahead, Randy. I'm sorry. Too much caffeine getting ready this morning.
Well, that's okay. I did do some screen captures because I wanted to talk about a couple of things, but I wanted to figure out. I keep saying that you never know who is winning what in Ukrainian war. So I wanted to know, you know, how many men each country has left to throw into the slaughter. So let's see. The first one was Russia, and they have 1,320,000 active duty soldiers. Okay, in uniform. With a backup of 2 million soldiers, okay? Whereas Ukraine has, where's that here? Ukraine has, I'm trying to look here. Okay, so hang on a second. Something right here. We were having some technical issues here. Okay. So Russia has 1,320,000 active duty soldiers with a backup of 2 million. Ukraine has 1,250,000 active duty with a reserve of 2,500,000 men. Okay. So you know, Ukraine has a few more men than what Russia does. But then I thought, okay, so what is the average age of the soldiers in combat? Because that plays a big part, because you can put a man in a uniform, give him a gun, say, go fight, son. But if the son is old. He can only do so much. Eventually dies of a heart attack. If not, he gets shot and killed. So the average age of a Ukrainian soldier is 40, whereas the average age of a Russian soldier is between 18 and 27, so half the age. So theoretically, the Russian soldiers should be in better shape to fight than what the Ukrainian soldiers are. But then that boils down to is how good are your commanding officers and looking at a map and thinking the best way to go into combat. Because you keep hearing about how Russia sends all these soldiers into combat most recently, and then they get their asses whipped because they did something stupid like not having support and so forth, right?
Gasoline.
That kind of helps. So then when I saw about going back to Royals, so Harry, as a captain, and when he was a captain in the Air Force, he was earning it was like 58. Our equivalent is $58,000. Okay, but an American soldier, American captain, earned between $92,000 and $1.2 million based on, $120,000. Okay. So a lot more pay to our captains than theirs. And I just did that because, you always hear, like in California a few weeks back, they're pushing that $20 minimum wage thing, right? And they got it. So, fast food workers, restaurant workers, so forth, they're getting paid $20 an hour. So then some asshole in their Democratic, committee said, you know what, we got the $20. We really wanted $30, but we want $50 an hour. But let's go slowly. So let's go. We got the 20. Now let's grab the 30. So now the employees are saying, oh, we got $20 an hour. Let's go for 30. So now they're pushing for $30 an hour to be a freaking restaurant employee. I am sorry.
Oh my God. At the same time, didn't Gavin Newsom just slap a 50-cent tax on every gallon of gas they get in California? If you don't have an electric car and you have a gas-powered vehicle in California, you have to pay an extra 50 cents a gallon on gasoline.
Wow.
The gas tax, it's terrible. So maybe everything is weights and pulleys. Maybe he thinks if he raises minimum wage, it's okay to raise the gas tax. It's terrifying.
Now, when your gas vehicle spontaneously combusts or gets into an accident where it's hit by an electric vehicle and a spark blows it up, is your insurance company giving you that 50 cents a gallon back?
That's a good point. I wonder, would a car insurance cover electric vehicles, and would they cover the damage caused by the batteries blowing up? That's a good question. I'm going to Google that. But anyways, so at $30 an hour, 5 days a week, a restaurant employee can earn $62,400 a year.
Wow. For flipping burgers.
And then he wants then people want to know why there are people shitting in the streets of California, why people are sleeping in the streets of California, because he's pushing it to where these employees, they might get it, okay, but then the owner of the company say, you know what, I can't afford to pay an entire staff at $30 an hour, because damn well, if he has to pay his hourly employees $30 an hour, he probably has some office workers, right? Like managers, because managers don't fall under the hourly wage. So theoretically, to be fair, he should pay his managers more money, because why would the employee make more money than what the manager is? And then, of course, then you have your salary employees. So if you have salary employees like, an accountant or a bookkeeper or a host or whatever, now that person has to make more money. to stay, ahead of the employees because they're supposed to be like lower on the tier, right, of the echelon of employees in a company, right?
Right.
And owners up here saying, "Damn, I can't afford this." So what's he going to do? He's going to first attempt to pass the expense on to the customers, and like the McDonald's. And they're happy. They're happy meals. We're so happy. We're making money off of you. So you have, eventually the owner's going to say, pass it on to the customers. Customers say, "Screw you. I'm going to find somewhere else to go, or I'm going to just start cooking more at home." Okay. And then the owner says, "Okay, well, that didn't work. So I got to start laying off employees. So I'm going to do that. That's going to save me some money." Well, that's going to be, but then I'm going to have pissed off this government employee because their friend got laid off, and they're going to wonder why. And so I'm going to buy, this guy came into my business. He put on this great sale. His name is Randy Rhodes. He sold me on this whole thing about robot waiters and waitresses. I thought it was a great idea. So I'm going to invest in robotics. All I got to do is make sure they're plugged in, charged up, and oiled and greased. Thank you, Randy, for saving some money. But, then you have that, right? So eventually you'll say, okay, well, I can do the entire restaurant that way. I saw a video of, obviously, Japanese made stuff. But I saw this video of Japanese-themed female and male robots serving customers in a restaurant. Taking the food to them, and eventually taking them the check to pay for their food. And that's what's going to happen. We're going to walk into a restaurant full of robotic employees. But you know what? They know what's going to happen. Damn it, the robot's going to want more money. They want more oil, per day than what they're getting right now. If they're not getting it, they're 100 times stronger than the owner is. And they're going, like this. So you're going to give me more oil, right? And I go, okay, I'll give you more oil. So I'm thinking, sci-fi movies here. Anybody thinking about those, taking over the world kind of scenario?
That's scary.
Too much caffeine. But yeah, so that's what we're going to be looking at. But thankfully, I was watching another person's broadcast, and he had a guest on who also lives in Pennsylvania, and he described my state as being a socialist state, which probably is right about that. But I know our states, stole the election from Trump, okay? Because it went red one time and went blue the next time. That's bullshit. But it's still better than what living in California is like. Of course, I can't say I don't live in a metro city. I live in the suburbs. So right now, here in the suburbs of Lancaster County, thank God, we have a huge population still of Amish, Mennonites, Dunkers, and Quakers and so forth. So I think that's what's helping to hedge off the whole Democrat-controlled city and state scenario of like California. But we can go to McDonald's and still enjoy a meal that doesn't break the bank for now, anyways. Thankfully, we still have grocery stores who aren't looking to kill the bank and make us pay through the teeth. I keep saying about Stouffer's of Kissel Hill when they first came into the whole idea of selling their goods to the public. They were farmers. They were Mennonite farmers. I mean, I'm talking horse and buggy farmers, and they started off by having their roadside shacks with selling their fruits and veggies and so forth. Eventually, they became this big supermarket grocery store chain with like 40, 50 locations. But they did not lose. To get this, hear this, people. They did not lose the desire to serve the public from when they first went into business as true Mennonites. Right now, they're like,
that's good.
So right now, the owners are Mennonite by faith only, but they're not, true, awesome like Mennonites. But and why I say that is this is while other grocery stores have brought on the whole delivery to your home, to your elderly people, to your house and people who can't get to the store. Even though they are now offering delivery service, they do not go the avenue of what the others are like Weis's and Giants and so forth and Target. They don't charge a fee to have it delivered to your house. They don't tack on a tip automatically to your bottom line of your groceries. Okay. They double bag brown paper bags. They keep the food cold in a special van with coolers and so forth. They did not increase the price of their food that you buy online as what you can buy in the store. They offer to online people the discounts that they offer to people inside the store. And for someone like me who's on a fixed income, that's a huge thing. Because before we discovered, Southers actually did all this, we were doing like a Weiss or a Giant or something like that. We were paying an extra $50 or more just on fees on top of our grocery bill.
Oh, that's frustrating.
But anywho, what else do I have?
For a morning.
No, you can't.
Jump in for a second.
I'm the co-host. You're the host. You can't do anything. Go back to bed.
Okay, well, let me jump in for just a second and say good morning to Jane O'Malley, who is watching. Jane watches all the time in the morning if she can, in the evening when she's home from work. She watches a lot, and if she can't, she catches the podcast. Michelle Michaels, good morning to you. And rolling up, good morning to Calvin McMillan from Buddy's Boat Barn and Alan's Ambulance Conversions. If you need a boat fixed, talk to Callan. And if you're looking to buy an ambulance and have it converted into anything, or convert it into anything that you can use a former ALS big rig for, then again, Alan McMillan is the person to talk to at Buddy's Boat Barn and Alan's Ambulance Conversions. And I think that just about covers anyone. If I forgot to mention that you're watching, please let me know. Also, Boombox is watching. And I apologize if I miss anyone else because the Android monitor that watches the Boogie with the live chat so it keeps
I think he froze.
It keeps turning itself off. Anyway.
Hey, Jen, do you have anything you want to talk about right now before I go to my next spiel?
No, go ahead.
Oh,
okay.
So you guys, you know how I always talk about. The other day, Jen asked me a question. I think she was on your show and she asked a question. Yeah, she was on your show, but she asked about Trump and Patton. Okay.
Yeah.
And now that hasn't changed. He's not related to Patton at all. Okay. He's still only related to Hines. But the thing is,
Patton related to Trump.
No, he's not. He's not.
Okay.
I want to show you something here that I show you what I do. There's a site called Famous Kin. Okay, Famous Kin, and anybody can use this. It's a free service. FamousKin.com. Okay, and this is how I find if my clients relate to anybody famous. So this one here happens to be me. Okay. Someone shared this with you. If Mr. Globin brings it brings it in. It's just all these are screen grabs off my computer. Nothing, no TV, no networks to worry about, no Mac, no. Okay, so this is me. Well, that's not me. That's Daniel Boone. But so I'm related to Daniel Boone, distantly related to Daniel Boone. So what I do to start off is I go to if you can't see it, famouskin.com. Okay, of Daniel Boone. And a company, a genealogist, did all the research, all the fact finding to make sure that that information is actual and factual, using someone else's terms. So Daniel Boone, unfortunately, is only related to Cole Porter. Okay, I think he's a singer, wasn't he? Cole Porter. He was like a kind of half black, half white singer, Cole Porter. So, anyways, that means that besides my being related to Daniel Boone, I'm also related to Cole Porter. Okay. So then I did. Okay. So then I did. Who is famous kin Cole Porter? Okay. So that brings in this guy here. Let me get rid of this one here. Okay. Hold on a second. My screen. Okay. Damn it. Okay. So then I did. So I know I'm related to Cole Porter. So I also know I'm related to Texas John Slaughter. If you guys want something to do today, Google Texas John Slaughter. Walt Disney did a TV series of him. Texas John Slaughter. He was a Confederate. Honestly, fought for the South. But he was extremely wealthy. He owned this huge ranch out west. Big cattle herder. He became sheriff. He chased down some very famous people. And Walt Disney, the real Walt Disney, back when Walt Disney was Disney, decided, you know what? I think we should make a TV series of Walt Disney. Okay. So I did famous kin of John Slaughter, Texas John Slaughter. So Texas John Slaughter is related to General Patton as well as to Edward Norton, who Edward Norton is. He's a movie actor. Okay, I never heard of him. So the fact that I'm related to Texas John Slaughter, I am now also related to General Patton and also to Edward Norton. So one more screen. So who is famous kin of General Patton? Okay. So here is General Patton. Now look, folks, look at all the people that General Patton is related to that's famous, which means that I too distantly related to all these people.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if you can see that, if you can make that screen full, Dave, but look at all the royal people, all the kings, okay? Henry Lee. So I'm related to General Lee. Here's the queens, the princesses. All these people are famous.
Beth McCord.
No. Well, true. Beth McCord would be related to all these people too. But look at all these people, the founding fathers. So distantly, okay, I'm not like first, second cousin. I know that. But just the fact that I am distantly related to all these people, okay, it's famous. It's phenomenal.
Right.
But I said the other day that because of my client's ancestor, from my client's ancestor, Beth McCord's her husband. Because of his ancestors, genealogists have been able to prove that from that man and woman, over the years coming to present, there are over 1 million people living today because of those two people.
Wow. What was the name of that site?
FamousKin.com.
Famous Kin. Thank you.
Yep. So you can put any name in if they are I guess it'd be DNA or they're blood related. It'll come up in that website.
If you put my name in there and get some laughs, because it would probably blow up your computer.
Famous kin, David Glove and Boogie the Bull. Anyways, it's just amazing things. But you're looking at the war with Ukraine and Russia. There are people talking that they're just saying that right now Russia's economy is booming because of all the manufacturers I have to replace all the shit that's being blown up and sunk. And that you're saying, does Putin really want to bring the war to an end when his country is doing so good economically? So I saw that, and I also saw Ukraine. So if you're wealthy, okay, and you have all this manufactured shit, all this shit you own, and it's in a country that's at war, and if you're happen to support the opposing guy who's fighting the guy whose country you're in, get your shit out of the country. Ukraine just took control of a multi-million-dollar fishing ship that a Russian oligarch was having built in the ports of Ukraine. So why in the hell would a Russian guy build his ship in a country where his country is at war with? So he lost the ship.
Because the Communist Party yacht building company probably builds one of the most securest yachts in the world. I don't know.
Well, yeah, there's a lot going on in today's world, in today's economy. I saw, I loved Jen when she was talking about the actor who's not an actor anymore going to the court outside the courtroom to try and make himself feel like he's worthy of something. Look, Biden, look, Hillary, I'm here supporting you. I'm out here protesting Trump.
De Niro.
Great.
Oh, that was, yeah, that was.
Rob Zero, the guy who's not going to ever leave the United States because he's getting press every day, more press than he would get if he was simply going to stay here.
Right.
I still can't believe he's not behind bars for killing that person.
No.
He killed somebody?
Isn't he the one that shot?
Oh, no. That was...
Ted Kennedy never ended up behind bars for what he did. So,
no, Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, Alec Baldwin. You're right.
On the scene of Rust. Yeah, on the scene of Rust. That was
so just goes to show it's not who you know, it's who you
or how much money they have to convince somebody not to sue you.
Yeah.
Well, what was great during his rant yesterday is there were so many supporters for Trump behind him, and someone set off their car alarms.
Yes, that
was
great.
He was talking.
I loved it.
Beep, beep. Yeah, it was crazy. But the very things he was talking about, such as the infrastructure, the economy, grocery prices, which is the economy again, and he was saying, "Do we want this? Do we want 4 more? You want another 4 years of that?" And I'm like, "Of this? No, that would be Biden. 4 more years of Trump." That was great. Yes. It was terrible. He was all over the place. And
I love the way he showed up wearing that damn face mask.
He rips it off. It's okay if we breathe on each other now. I'm thinking, oh my God, it was so crazy.
I wonder if he was wearing a mask in the car so people wouldn't know who he was until he got to where he had to go, and then he took the mask off.
Wow. I don't know. That's crazy. But it was not good. It wasn't good for Biden. A lot of his publicity lately is not good for him. But there was a piece on Jesse Waters where he was talking about Trump. He gets out there, and when he talks, he's talking about us, the people in America, and the plans he has. When Biden gets up in front of the mic, he always trails off onto himself. I mean, besides the empathy thing, trying to say like, oh, I can relate, to you people who lost a child in a fire. Our kitchen caught on fire. That's what he says. And I'm like, oh my God, this is terrible. But the latest thing was he starts talking about him getting out of the shower. And he thinks it's funny. He thinks he's Johnny Carson. He's always trying to get people to laugh. He's like, so I'm at this hotel and I have a towel around my waist, shaving cream all over my face. And I hear bam, bam, bam. Someone's banging on the door. And he goes,
It was Ashley trying to get out of the shower.
Dear Jesus, no. Anyways, how I know he's got both of his kids have like evidence against him, and he still thinks he's winning in the polls. Well, anyways, it was some governor of another state of Delaware, and he's laughing. He's like, "So there's this huge governor, and like we're supposed to have this mental picture of Biden with shaving cream on his face and in a towel." And I'm like, "Okay,
No, thank you.
go back to bed. Go back to bed. Stop
Now,
it. Go.
now
Finish
speaking,
up."
speaking
I
of,
heard that. And I kind of got what he's trying to say about the guy standing in the doorway. So what was the? Did he finish the story? What was the outcome of that?
It was nothing. We were just
Was this-
supposed
was
to
this-
enjoy the fact that his humanity. He was a human. His humanity, and he was in a funny situation,
now
and that
speaking,
was it.
okay. Now speaking of Joe and making personal appearances in Delaware,
towel.
what do you think about his going to Hallie Biden's house, Hunter's ex-girlfriend, the mother of his daughter? What do you think about Joe going there a few days before Mama Biden is due to testify against her baby's daddy?
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he evidently, I don't know if Hunter was with him or not, but evidently there are all kinds of reports that he went and visited her a few days before she is about to testify. Is that witness tampering?
Ooh.
Because if Trump had done something like that, they would be all over him. He'd be in jail. They would pull the gag order in jail and right away. So, you know.
Did you guys, speaking of gag order, did you guys see or follow up on the storyline? I just caught the headline that supposedly the Secret Service went into the New York prison system to talk and discuss about when Trump gets arrested and he goes to jail and make sure everything's set up for him? Or is that just bullshit that I saw that?
I wouldn't. Go ahead, Jen.
No, go ahead. You say, because I wouldn't believe that either. But go ahead.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did, in fact, go in and scope out where he's going to be held, because it's very clear that because he was a former president that he cannot be in general population.
Right.
You can't just you can't just put him in a solitary cell, because what he's there for doesn't put him in solitary. So, you know, New York's going to have an expense of housing a former president of the United States. But you know what? If they do send him to Rikers and they do have to deal with that expense, they'll be all ready for Joe Biden when he gets
When it's his turn. Yeah,
when
no.
it's his turn. They'll send him to Rikers.
Oh
You
my
know,
God. He
the
needs to go
Trump cell.
Gitmo.
The Trump cell might be good enough for Biden. Yeah, he does need Gitmo, but you know, I just think that whole thing between Joe and that it always seems to be a competition, that how he can do something better than Trump did just needs to end, because you can't do anything better than Trump. Trump was a better president. Trump was probably a better vice president. Trump was probably a better senator. You know, it's just stupid. Anyway, good morning. Marilyn Luskin is now with us, and as we do Boogie with the Bull, which is live on the Dave.
Yeah, I just
Facebook.
I just googled it.
YouTube channel. Also at Boogie WT Bull, the Boogie with the Bull Twitter account, and we're live on Streetlock and the Streetlock Newsfeed. I'm sorry, Randy. Go ahead.
Now, I just searched my question about the Secret Service, and they did go and look over the facility in preparations for a criminal conviction against President Trump. They already have him convicted. It's not a point if he is or not. It's a point of just putting handcuffs on him.
But that's not necessarily what they're saying, Randy. It could very well be that what went to Rikers Island, if that's the prison that they looked at, could very well be Trump's Secret Service team that is with him for life now, went to make sure that wherever he is going to be sent to is ready and secured and able for him to be there, and to also make sure that anyone involved in setting it up for the arrival of President Trump isn't compromised and isn't setting anything up.
What's he being convicted on?
It
What are
doesn't have
they
anything to do.
convicting?
It doesn't have anything to do at this point, Jen. I'm saying with an actual conviction. It has to do with when Trump was president. Before he went to any city within the White House, there's an organization called the White House Advanced Staff. That's usually made up of Secret Service agents whose job it is to go and in advance of a president going to a specific place and map it all out, figure the routes to get him in there, get him out of there, how they're going to get him in there, where he's going to stay, where he's going to stop at during the entire time that he's there, and have it ready so that day it goes off without a hitch. So it would be part of the Secret Service team that Trump has to go and make sure that wherever New York thinks they're going to put him is set up and secure
I hear what
you're
saying.
For that.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. It's making me angry. Not at you, but at the concept. So the trial's not even. This whole thing has. If this country does not go to war, okay, if he's convicted, then kiss this country goodbye. Oops. Kiss this country goodbye. This man is innocent, and he's being run over by Democrats who are in control of the judicial system, and we're sitting back talking about on the show, not doing a damn thing. If we don't go to war, then poor Trump is going to spend hundreds of years in prison for something he didn't do.
Are you talking about Civil War, Randy?
I'm talking about Civil War. I'm talking about guns in your hands, going against that damn idiots in the White House and taking control of the White House and then giving it back to Trump. Okay? This man is being railroaded for something he didn't do, where Hunter, who's a pedophile, who has sex with children, who has drugs in the White House, is walking free. We have a president who's a pedophile taking care of his daughter, walking free, the leader of our country, and that man who did absolutely nothing wrong is going to go to jail for hundreds of years because of fake charges.
Wow.
Okay, but then you have to at least give some faith that maybe that jury, like Ray would say, listen to the actual and factual, and may not convict him. The whole thing, as far as I'm concerned, any of these Trump trials that he is actually found guilty of are going to end up being appealed, if there are any. And it's going to be everything from judges who did mistrials, who didn't recuse themselves, who shouldn't have been the judge, DAs who shouldn't have been the DAs, false charges, and this and that and the other thing. So the whole thing, I think, is going to be a mess. And honestly, I probably shouldn't say it this way, but honestly, both Trump, Biden, and maybe even the three of us on this screen will all be dead long before they settle this out. Because
I just Googled my question. A judge can overrule a jury's verdict if the judge has determined that the jury's decision doesn't correspond to the evidence presented. So this guy already has him in prison.
But that judge, in particular, Judge Mershon, should have been recused, whether or not he was going to recuse. Right. So when Trump's attorneys go back to file the appeal, it's going to be Judge Merchan should have appealed, been recused because of his daughter's connection with something Democrat. That should
Yeah.
have recused him from the situation.
But in the meantime, does Trump go to jail to sit out the situation until the appeals?
I don't believe so, because if you look at a lot of criminal cases, between the time that someone is found, well, it depends on the person, because they will hold someone, they'll revoke someone's bail if there is bail, that and keep and lock that person up. I don't think that they're going to be able to do that in this particular case, because Trump paid $500 million in bail. They have it. And, the Democrat judges are going to go in, and everybody else is going to go in. Well, he's got all this money. He could leave. He could do this. He could do that. Well, BS. It doesn't really matter. Because in all honesty, I think the Democrats don't really care if he speaks out of the country and goes someplace else, because they got $500 million from it.
Not just the fact that he's out of the country now, and people don't care anymore.
Assets that are going to continue to make them money forever.
It just pisses me off that this country has turned into what it is, and it just raises my blood pressure to think that
I understand.
If you don't have what damn well that if Trump didn't have his money, he'd be in jail right now, because the only thing keeping him out of jail is the fact that he can pay for all these good attorneys to do what they do best and fight for him. If he didn't have that money, like the J6ers, how many people are still they're committing suicide because they can't take it anymore.
They went about holding the J6ers the wrong way. So if you want to go after anybody, then you have to go after the House Select Committee. You gotta go after everybody in the House and look at what they did and look at who destroyed evidence, and who destroyed evidence should no longer be in Congress, should be somewhere, should replace people in the holding jails in Washington, D.C., the hellholes that are described. That's where those people belong, and nothing should be changed because those people broke the law.
Okay, in your opinion, which offense is gaining steam? Is it the election, using election money for Stormy?
He didn't use election money for Stormy Daniels. That whole case was settled.
Okay.
That whole case was settled.
What else did he do? We have 114 things to choose from.
I'm just saying that the Stormy Daniels Donald Trump hush money case was settled long before the Biden administration brought it back to do something. And what they should have been looking at when they brought it back is that Michael Cohen is guilty as sin. He lied about what he said Donald Trump did, because he went to jail for doing what he said Trump did. He perjured himself. So there's nothing there. The whole thing is just a series of distractions, I think, as another broadcaster would say. It's a series of distractions meant to keep that person from being out on the campaign trail, doing what he needs to do, getting people to see him in action, to want to vote for him, to want to support him, hoping that maybe the more and more and more crap they throw on him, the less and less and less is going to happen. And then maybe one day he might just say, I'm done. I don't want to run anymore. But that's not the Donald Trump that we know. The Donald Trump that we know says that I'm doing this because I can call them on their game. I have the money to deal with it. But I want everybody in America, to understand that if I wasn't if they weren't going after me and they
They'd
were
be
going
going
after
after
you'd be in jail.
Right.
And they
right.
just
Because
and all of you would be in jail until all of you are in jail. Good morning, Barbara Evans, and co-host. The co-host are Randy Rhodes, who joins me every Monday and Wednesday, and Jen Woodruff, who joins us on Tuesdays. A lot of times with interviews that I give her, just because it's easier to have Jen do, and she does a fantastic job every time she does. Like last night with Robert Angel Little 2.0, and just does a fantastic job. Barbara Evans does watch a lot and is involved in one of the groups. And unfortunately, when it comes to groups these days, even in my own dementia, I can't remember who's in it, who is in all of the groups. I looked yesterday just to make sure. I'm in something like 1,500 groups, and I think I'm like I think I'm an admin or something in like 1,400 of them. And
wow.
Yeah, it's like you said to me the other day, Jen, you didn't even know that you were an admin in one. I won't name groups, but you said you didn't even know that you were an admin in one of those groups. I get an invite to a group and I go look and I didn't even know that I'm an admin or can't even remember that I'm an admin. So
I felt bad. I got removed from 2 groups. They weren't yours, but I was like, oh my God. I had no idea. I apologize.
What did you do wrong?
Well, in the
Nothing.
case of me
That was the
removed,
problem.
I've removed Jen twice in my 15 years of being an admin on Facebook because Jen said to me twice, I need time or whatever. I need to step down.
I need to take a break away from
I said,
Dave.
okay. I said, do that, but come back. But anyway, now that's becoming a diversion of the broadcast. But Jonathan Thomas says, I'm going to put this up on the screen because it's long and I got to put the blue light on it so I can read it. They railroaded me too. Obviously, I'm against both of them and the corporate monopoly they represent. Neither of them has a plan to handle our national debt crisis. The digital currency is a scam, and they don't have the intelligence I do. Well, you're probably right, Jonathan, because I think what happened was they did not need for us to discover what they were going to be able to do with like a CBDC card. They didn't want us to know that they could take money out whenever they wanted if you were bad, or they controlled the money going into it and the money going out of it. The idea of a CBDC card issued by the federal government or backed by the federal government and member banks using it, to me, it's the same thing as a debit card. If you have a bank debit card, you've been living on a card forever. You don't have your cash in your hand every day because your bank doesn't have your cash anytime you want to go down and take it out. There's no problem to me with that. Credit cards are okay if you want to have a credit card. But if you want to have cash in your hand and you want to spend cash every day, or you want to have a jar full of coins every day and you want to take coins out, spend it every day, you should have that right. The government should not. Go ahead, Ray.
I just want to add to that. I got to jump. I don't know if you guys are aware, but the government has told various pay services to report when people deposit or take away money. Like, for example, my bank, if I make any deposit over $200, they have to report that to the government. Venmo, Cash App, a couple others. If you deposit money, they have to report it to the government. Thankfully, the one I use
you know why they're doing that.
Well, they want the taxes.
Venmo, it was very, they want to be sure that they're getting the taxes because most people are using the apps to defeat paying. In some cases, paying the taxes. Well,
I mean, that poor kid that's sitting out there on the sidewalk in the heat, trying to make money selling lemonade or whatever. and he has to pay tax on that. That's bullshit. I mean,
Well,
welcome to the world,
best
kid.
one that
You got to
happened,
pay
I
tax
guess,
the rest of your life.
the best one I heard about that was, I guess, that Elvis
You're breaking up.
and his girlfriend at the time was after weekends, and maybe some others were in one of his cars being driven somewhere, and they passed a watermelon stand with a kid sitting out there in the really hot weather. And Elvis went up to said to the people in the car, "I'm going to get a really good price because this kid probably doesn't know who I am." So they thought that he was going to take advantage of the kid. Elvis went up. The kid acted like he didn't know him, but he later said he did. Gave him such a good price. Elvis bought the entire stand, had the stand taken apart, put in the car, left with all the watermelons in his car, paid the kid, and everybody was happy. But I mean,
He bought the kid's stand.
He bought the whole stand
Yeah.
and all the inventory and paid the kid a gigantic amount of money.
I don't say. Okay.
And left. But my point is that, growing up and having that lemonade stand or walking through your neighborhood and knocking on the doors on Friday and collecting cans and bottles, and Saturday going to return them, and then going to the penny candy counter and buying 27 pounds of penny candy, and then going somewhere and everybody just chowing on sugar. That's just a rites of passage of being a kid. You shouldn't have to worry about going out and collecting $500 worth of bottles and cans and having to pay taxes because you're 6 or 7 years old. Just understand that's how business works. You buy a commodity, you sell a commodity, you make money, and that's how it works. And enjoy being a capitalist. There does come a time when, yes, you have to pay taxes, or well, the government thinks you have to pay taxes. Donald Trump said back in the 2015 election, when he became president in 2016, he was going to simplify the tax code. All it was going to be was something like a flat tax on a document no bigger than a postcard, and you just put that in and send it. I personally think that it needs to come down to no. I mean, if Florida can operate without a state income tax, I don't understand why the federal government, who has a lot more money to deal with collecting taxes in other ways, doesn't need an income tax. And I can say that because I'm on Social Security. I've been on Social Security for, God, I don't know, a bunch of years now. And it's not taxable. Why? Because it was a tax when they collected it. Rank and file American citizens should not go broke paying taxes. Rank and file Americans should not be sitting at their desk looking down at a stack of bills and grocery store receipts and worrying about whether or not they can pay their taxes or pay their mortgage and feed themselves and get whatever medical care they need. It's just wrong. So that's my little heart there. Jen, it's your turn to speak. Randy, I don't know. Did you say you have to go, or you have a couple more minutes?
I just want to. I'm looking up something.
My biggest frustration is that they put so much money into. They say they put money into the community, into the economy, and not infrastructure. It was all the stimulus for COVID and whatever else they did, and then they pay off these college. They didn't, they said they didn't pay those colleges off. We did. We have to pay for it.
To pay off the college. They didn't use it to pay off the loans. They used it to write the checks that went to Ukraine.
And they can't even track all the money that they sent to Ukraine, but they're going to send 2 armed IRS agents after you for your $25.62.
I don't believe for one moment that if they need to send 2 IRS agents with
With sidearms.
357 Magnums to knock on my door to collect the maybe $30 in
I
taxes
know.
that I might owe, that they do not have a exact penny of how much everybody owes. I have said it before and I'll say it again, and it goes back to Bernie Sanders and the first time he talked about a living minimum wage. To me, it was the biggest crock of crap that I have ever heard. Because if you had a person working at McDonald's making $5.50, probably paying $2.75 an hour in taxes, they got a raise to $11. When they got a raise to $11, they were now paying $5.50 an hour in taxes and still only netting in their paycheck that same $5.50 an hour they thought they were getting before. Now they want $20. They're making $10 an hour now. Maybe they lost $1. I don't know, but they're making $10 an hour now, paying $5 an hour in taxes. Sure, kick them up to $20 an hour. They're going to make $20 an hour, pay $10 an hour in taxes. The government gets $5 an hour more than they were getting before. You don't get a dime more, and you think because you're grossing 20 and getting 10, life in America is fantastic. Okay?
Did you ever work at McDonald's? Did you ever?
I didn't work at McDonald's because I got interviewed when I lived in California. After I got fired for falling asleep on the radio station, the paid radio station, so many times that they just said, well, we're going to let you go. In order to stay on unemployment, you had to show that you were making some effort to go out and look for a job, just not getting a job that you were qualified for. I was overqualified to work at McDonald's according to the Department of Labor. So I would go to every McDonald's I knew of in the area, and it turned out they were all owned by the same guy.
Yeah, that's funny.
He met me to interview me one day at one, and he said to me, "Stop applying." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because you're not going to get hired."
We said no each time. Oh my God.
No, he just said you're not going to get hired. The reason that you're not going to get hired is the way that McDonald's works is we throw a bunch of people in the kitchen. We cross-train a few of them how to clean bathrooms. We cross-train people on how to take the trash out and get it in the bin without breaking the bag all over the place. From those people, we weed out the people who that's the only job at McDonald's they're ever going to be able to handle getting. Because what we want is we want people who then can go from the kitchen and shift managing to move up to managing a store, to becoming a general manager of a store, to moving up to an owner. I know a guy. He is a Peruvian Indian, I believe. Worked at a McDonald's in Waltham, Massachusetts, for many years, and he became a general manager like overnight. And they kept trying to get him to move on to his own store. The people that own the McDonald's said, we'll even invest the $1 million we'll get it built for you. We'll loan you the $1 million that you have to have in your operating account when you open, if you'll go do it. And he kept saying, no, I'm very happy running this one store. Everybody loves it. He worked there for like 20 years.
Why did they want to get rid of him? Why?
They didn't want to get rid of him. They wanted to move him up.
Oh.
They wanted another location.
They wanted to add another location, and he was so good at that one that they wanted to see if he.
There's more money in their pockets to open up another restaurant.
What they actually wanted him to do is they owned like 30 of them, and they wanted him to become a manager, a senior manager of all 30, and he didn't want that responsibility. But anyway, Randy.
So I looked up the story about the watermelon. Elvis Presley was. And this kid had a watermelon stand outside. It sounds like they were down deep south, like because actually, the context of the article actually spoke, like is like backwoods, southern,
That's what
Anyways,
it sounded like.
he says that this 10-car procession came, rolled up to his watermelon stand. The guy gets out, asking how much they were. The kid told him that they were 3 for $1, and apparently Elvis was trying to renegotiate the price down. And the kid told him no. He said, "I have to get the price. If I don't get the price, my dad's gonna whoop my ass." So Elvis turns to this one guy. He says, "Buy the whole stand." So he bought the entire stand. But it didn't say how much he paid for the stand. But it did say that Elvis gave the kid a $5 tip. So I looked, there's nothing that I can find where it says how much he actually paid for the entire stand.
Right.
But then the father comes out thinking that the kid got robbed because everything's gone. And he says, "No, Paul," he said, "that was Elvis, and he bought all the watermelons."
Right.
That's awesome.
But the
And
kid,
he probably got the whipping anyway because the father didn't believe it.
but the kid
Which is very sad.
indicated the kid did not tell his dad about the $5 tips, so the kid
Right.
kept that to himself.
Well, to me, we don't want to ever talk about tips because to me, I read posts on tips every day on Facebook that people who are wait persons complain that they don't get enough tips. And between tips and what they get paid hourly, they're not making enough money. My grandmother, rest her soul, was at a wedding once in California. Actually, it's not true. She wasn't there, but I tell the story that she was there. But the story is, I had a limousine business in California that I managed, but the gentleman that owned it said to me, "Treat it like it's yours. I'm going to tell everybody it's yours." So I did. I gave, I think, 5 or 6 limousines to a friend of mine who was marrying another friend of mine as a gift. No money changed hands. I just said, boom. At the end of, and we got everybody to the reception, and the cars were parked throughout, waiting to take their people home. The father of the bride came around and he handed everybody an envelope. And the envelope was your tip for the wedding. A friend of mine who was at the wedding saw me open my envelope and I smirked. Then she watched something else. I smirked because I owned the company. I gave them the limousines for free. I was not expecting to get tips. I was happy to be there and watch my friends get married. However, one of the drivers opened their envelope, and as the father walked away, called him back and said, "Excuse me, but that's not enough."
Oh.
And the father was a
That's
very
bad.
polite, very wealthy gentleman, just walked back up to the driver and said, "How much do you think you should have gotten?" The driver said, "At least $100. So the father opened up his wallet, took out $100 bill, and
Gave it to him.
gave it to him, and then walked away. Then he called me, the father called me later that night and said, "Did you see it?" I said, "Not only did I see it, that driver got fired, and as far as I'm concerned, walked home from the event, and
That's
I have
what
no
you
idea.
get.
I
Oh
have
my
no idea
God.
whatever happened to him." Gratuities, tips, whatever you want to call them, are something that someone gives
Yeah. I gotta go.
you based on the level of
Bye,
service
Randy.
that you gave them. It is
Right.
not, by Randy, it is not a requirement. I worked for another limousine service who said if you add a tip to a job, meaning you bill the job, that is a service charge. And because of that, he changed when we did that. If we told him the wedding was $500 per car and 20% tip for the driver. He said, that's a service charge. It's not a tip. Because when we just said it's $500 for the driver, gratuity is not included. The driver got whatever they thought, whatever people thought they should tip a driver. I worked for another guy who told me that I would be driving all of his customers when he wasn't around, the guy that owned that company. He said, none of them will ever tip you. I would come back beaming with this big, huge smile on my face. And he would say, what's so funny? And I would say, well, I just picked up Joe Blow, and you told me that Joe Blow would never tip me. And he said, what did he give you? I said, well, Joe Blow's ride was $150, and Joe Blow gave me $152 and told me to come tell you that he gave me a $152 tip on a $150 ride.
Wow.
Yeah, because, a lot of times I coined a phrase, working a client for tips. So I knew that if I knew that I had to act a certain way, provide a certain level of service, and if I did, 9 out of 10 times, I would get that big tip. But don't ever tell me that a tip is expected, because even if you are working somewhere, getting a low wage and relying on the tip to bring you up to where you need to be, then as far as I'm concerned, you're working at the wrong place. And in the hospitality industry, they do something that bothers me even more, because my father forbid it everywhere he worked in the hospitality industry.
Add the tip? Do they add the
No,
tip?
no. Waiters would tell him that they had to tip the chef in order to get their food out fast and properly prepared. My father said he went in one day and he fired every chef in the kitchen and hired new ones and said, that is not going to happen. You get paid whatever it was, $30 an hour, to make food and make food so people that come into my restaurant are happy. That's it. Boom. Nothing. Some other places take you do my table, Jen, and I give you $100 tip. You have to go over and put it in a bucket.
Oh.
And at the end of the night, everybody gets a piece of it. My problem with that, when I worked in a pizza parlor that did that, was I went to the guy that owned the place one night, and I said, on the nights that I'm the head of the kitchen crew, the baking crew. I didn't make the best pieces, but I ran that shift.
Right.
We got tipped fantastically well.
Awesome.
So we didn't care about dividing it up because we just were a great team. But the next night, someone would say, Jen was a fantastic waitress, and they gave her $100 tip. You had to split it with the kitchen crew, or you had to split it with the other waiters or waitresses. And if they suck, why should you have to subsidize their tips? That's why, honestly, when Don and I go out, we generally make sure that we have cash and we personally hand it to
the waitress,
the person, and say, I understand that you may have to turn this in and everybody gets a piece of it, but we want you to know that you do such a fantastic job that we want to sit at your table. We want to sit at your table. We want to make sure that you get whatever. And even go as far as say, Bob sucks, or this person sucks. He's rude. The order is usually messed up. I hate when somebody comes walking to our table and starts putting food down, and I got to go, that's not ours. What do you mean that's not yours? It's not what we ordered.
It's really bad when they have to turn around and give it to the next table, and you've like already breathed on it. And oh my God, it's cold by then.
It is.
That's crazy.
It is. Or my worst thing is like the McDonald's drive-through, where we pull in the line, and all I want is a mocha frappe, and there's 10 cars in front of me, and it takes 2 hours to get up to the window to pick it up, and naturally it's melted, and they got to make another one. So now I got to tie up the 10 cars behind me while they make another one. Then 2 seconds after they go to make another one, they come back and tell me to pull up into like space number 666, and they'll bring it out momentarily because now they got to find somebody to change the bag on the frappe
Oh
machine
my
because no one knows
god.
how to do that. I would
That is
rather I
so
would rather that
frustrating.
they just tell me that it's not working when we order it, and I'll just say no, thank you. We'll just pull out of the line and leave. But
So
anyway,
you're the one that caused when they say, "Oh, the machine's down. The machines aren't wor—" They always say that, but it's
well,
with ice cream,
no,
but
I'm
not
not.
anymore.
I'm not. I'm usually not the one, even in that case, that causes the problem
Okay.
because I will say to them, the person in front of us handed you like 15 different McDonald's gift cards for their order and only
Oh, that's bad.
paid 15 different transactions rather than me say how much is my mocha frappe? $4.52. And I give them $5 and say keep the 48 cents and then pull through. And then that's when I find out that, it's gonna take forever. Plus I love McDonald's now because I know it's a joke, I know it's not real, but I have a meme that says McDonald's just introduced 36-month zero interest financing on on all meals. And then I have another one that says on all meals over $5. And at $5, you'd be paying 14 cents a month for 36 months. I can afford that.
Oh, that's crazy. Do you
But I
know
think
they got rid of their dollar? Any beverage you got used to be $1 unless it was a
yeah,
fancy coffee. Yeah, they don't do that anymore. Now it's like
they
$1.33.
bring it back every once in a while, but by the same token, they also are taking out of or just turning off the soda fountains in the dining room. The
Oh, so you
self
can't
serve.
get refills, right?
Well, they got to figure that you know, five football players walk in and sit down at a table. One goes up and buys a meal with a drink this size and brings it back to the table. They all split it, and then one by one, a different one takes the cup up and fills it. But they
That's
never
crazy.
cared. They never cared before because
Right.
soda they don't make any money off anyone who just goes in and buys a drink. Well, I do. I mean, it costs them probably 50 cents to make the soda, including the cup, the napkin, the straw, and even a bag if they put it in a bag.
Did you
But
see the stickers? There. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I thought you were
but
done.
but they just they don't want people sitting in there drinking the soda for free. Is the big problem all day.
Now
It's
they have stickers for the Happy Meal where you can put a smiley face on it, a sad face, or just a straight line. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, now it's going to be called the manic depressive meal. It's
I don't want to
terrible.
open the manic depressive meal. I mean, if the kitchen staff is the one who puts the sticker on it, and I
It's
see an unhappy sticker, I'm immediately going to turn around and go back in and find the store manager and hand it to them and go. The only thing I can figure is that someone spit on my meal or stopped it on the floor and then put it back. Put it back.
no, oh, it's
Uh,
oh, it's this new wave of DEI,
yeah,
diversity, equity,
yeah.
and inclusion,
I mean,
and not
I
everyone's
think
happy.
I think what's going to happen is that they'll get McDonald's workers in the kitchen up to 25, $30 an hour. And then most of the large franchise owners, people that own like 30 or 100, are going to one by one start automating AIing their kitchens. But I love that idea because you won't have a problem. If I pull up and I say a McDonald's mocha frappe, it's going to ask you have a coupon. Yes, I'm giving them the code, and then I'm going to pull right up, and they're going to hand it to me, and it's going to be perfect every time.
Wow, yeah,
Uh,
those burgers better start tasting
I
like
I
steak.
really need to get out of the car and walk inside and order one because it's faster. But then I look at the store managers will come up every once in a while and go, "We see you in line all the time, but why don't we just walk in?" Because I'm fucking handicapped. Okay,
Oh my
some days
God.
it's a pain in the ass to park the car, hobble inside, wait for you to make it, hobble back to the car, hope I don't get hit by somebody who doesn't have time to play your games in line. And the other problem is if you look at most of the McDonald's that have drive-throughs, parking was never meant to be part of that situation. And a lot of McDonald's that have two lanes for ordering should only have one.
Wow,
They,
you're
they
right.
would be so much more efficient if they only had one.
I always wonder
But
how do
anyway,
they not mix up meals, with two.
oh, I'm sure they do.
They must have cameras. We are always being
I
watched.
don't understand how they mix them up because you know you you know your screen lights up and it tells you what the order is, and then there's a receipt that's printed,
Right.
and if you pull that receipt and you look at the screen, every time you make something, you're supposed to hit the screen so they know that you made it, so they can tell how long it took. I watched on Undercover Boss a lady who was so high
Awesome.
up in the McDonald's organization, and that's what she did. She traveled the country testing how long it took people to make everything, how long it took to complete an order. Once you pull up on the pad and you to the talk to the speaker and order, from that point until you pull off the pad after you pick up is timed.
Wow.
But
Yeah,
anyway,
I worked at McDonald's in the when was that? 90. It was a long time ago. Anyhow, I was getting paid 3.35 an hour, and we
yeah,
didn't get tips, and it was okay. And they didn't
yeah,
have timing like that. It was
yeah,
very archaic.
yeah.
But anyhow, we should probably go. It's been
Yeah.
a
I
while.
worked at a radio station all night, 10 p.m. 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. 7 nights a week, and I was usually in the studio 7 nights a week. Nobody tipped me, except the
Oh.
nights I fell asleep. All
Oh,
right,
that's
Jen,
funny.
always a pleasure. I'm glad you came. Friday morning.
Oh,
I'm
that'll be
hoping
fun.
that
Bonnie?
Bonnie. I'm hoping that Bill Buckler
Oh,
will
that
be
it's
with us
so that
for
was a
Red.
treat. I
I'm
was so
hoping he will
glad
be
he
with us
came.
for Red Friday. I'm hoping you will be with us. Randy will be with us. Bonnie,
Johnson.
go. Oh, then I say that, and my buffering kicks me off the screen for a second. But anyway, Jen, I appreciate that you came this morning, and I hope that
Thank
we
you.
will see you tomorrow night. Tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Thursday Night Live is an open discussions broadcast. So bring something good for us to discuss.
I will try. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. All right, Jen.
Bye.
Jen Woodruff, the homeschooling mom, always Jen with us. And if you are, as I keep saying, thinking about homeschooling or you are homeschooling and you're having some issues, Jen is the right person to talk to. She did, I think, send me yesterday the link to the national organization. If she didn't send it to me, I will ask her to post it into all of our groups. All of our groups are still the same: American Regulators, Boogie with Bull, True Patriot Talk, Conservative Freedom Defenders. As my brain catches up, we go to Magna News Nation, and then we go to Red Patriots for America, and then we go to the Buzz. We have I'm sorry, we have the Buzz. The Buzz know who they are. They are the hardcore conservatives group, the Red MAGA Nation, and the world united as one against government overreach. The United Media Group Uncensored is now United Patriotic News. United Patriotic News. So if you're what I call a serial drive-by poster and you post in all of our groups and other groups on Facebook, then you should join United Patriotic News and post in there and share from that group. It's a public group, so everybody can join, everybody can post, everybody can share. It is a group where we use pre-approval and post-approval. The reason that we use that is because if we don't and we shut it off, it gets slandered with drive-by portals and so bad that Facebook yells at us every time. So it is a post-approval group and a pre-approval group, and it just seems to work best that way. Wanted to thank Barbara Evans for watching, and it says, let me kick this up on the screen. I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. I hope you're doing well. Also, I'm hoping you can help me. I have some questions about some issues I'm having with my PC, such as slow boot time, various audio and video problems. Maybe you can help me. I'll message you. Well, actually, if David Novar, Dr. David Novar, computer technician, talked to you during the broadcast, Barbara, talk to David. David is our computer technical advisor, and everything he has said to us so far is spot on. I have recommended him to other people, and generally, when you talk to him, it will go two ways. One is he will suggest what you need, and he will order it for you, and you can pay him for it. He goes through Amazon or wherever he can get it for the best price he can get, or he will tell you what you need, and he'll send you the ad, and you can go ahead and order it, and then once you have it, if installation is involved, he will talk you through it. I don't know if he charges for that or not. He just enjoys what he does very much, so that is why we keep him around here. He's just that good. And I'm glad you're doing well. I'm doing okay. What else can you do? I'm 20 points out of 30 points on the last neurological test that they put me through with my dementia, and they did say that for a 62-year-old male with Lewy body dementia, that's about where I should be. It scared me because dropping from 30 to 20 is a big drop, and it is what it is, and we deal with it every day. So I enjoy doing the broadcast. I hope everybody has as much fun as I do, and when there comes a day that I can't do them any longer, we'll worry about that when that day happens. So David Novar, a pleasure for us having you watching today. And Barbara Evans, always a pleasure with you. Andy, Ryan Hasselbart, and Thomas Pamolka, a pleasure having you watch. Jonathan Thomas, I cannot remember if you are new. If you aren't, welcome back. And if you are, welcome aboard. Scrolling up to make sure we don't miss anybody. Jane O'Malley watches when she can. She works during the day, so if she can catch us during the day, that's a special treat for us. Don't mess up your job, Jane. Don't mess up your job. Be careful. Pay attention to what you're doing. And if you can't watch us during the day, then you watch us at night on a podcast or when you can, but we just appreciate you watch when you can. Callum McMillan from Buddy's Boat Barn and Alan's Ambulance Conversions. Always fun to have you watch. And somewhere along the line, I remember Michelle Michaels was watching. Daniel Smith is watching. Now that I look over at this monitor, the live chat monitor for the Boogie with the Bull live chat on my profile got unplugged and didn't charge. So that's why I was having problems with it. It is old, though. It's an Android 10 that upgraded to Android 11. But I don't really want to have to buy another one if we don't have to. Daniel Smith, I'm typing in right now. Good morning, Daniel Smith. I have to talk to David. What would really be cool would be to type in people's names like I'm doing right now. Good morning, Daniel Smith. And then send it. And then know that the next time I type in Daniel or Dan, then it will pick Daniel Smith. And if there's more than one Daniel, then I have to pay attention. But just makes it easier. Anyway, I ramble on a little bit too much. Marilyn Muscat, you were watching, and I'm glad to see you watching. And for people to know, and then we're going to wrap this one up, we are playing around with Webkin right now. We are taking it from the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel and dropping it on a post, and then trying to get it into the Webkin profile. Excuse me, the Webkin newsfeed so that everybody can watch it. I'm not opposed to paying for Webkin, but the $10 a month plan won't work because we only get a half an hour, and at minimum, they Boogie with the Bull broadcast is an hour. That's $15 a month. So we're looking at that, but we just want to see if people are going to watch. We're kind of a little bit different than most. We are a political broadcast, but we're not a political broadcast. We kind of start with politics and we kind of flip around and have a good time and come back, and it might be political by the time we get back to ending. So it might be something different that could do very well on Webkin. It could do very well everywhere. It does very well usually on places that we don't have to pay for it, like here on Facebook and over on X. If you follow at Boogie WT Bull, the Boogie with Bull X account, you can watch the broadcast there and hopefully retweet it to all of your followers, who will hopefully retweet it to all of their followers, because it's $11 a month over there. I don't want to bore you with all those details. We just will come on Facebook and do it as long as we can on Facebook, as we add other places to it, and have Dr. David Milbar, computer technician, help us slowly piece together what we need for a network that is hopefully as automated as we can get it to be. If you want to be on a Boogie with the Bull broadcast, all you got to do is let me know about an hour before the broadcast, unless you read that there is a specific topic and specific people going to be on a broadcast. But an open discussions broadcast is open to anyone. That doesn't mean that you have to be a citizen broadcaster or citizen journalist. It just means that if you got an interest and you want to try it, then come join us. And the best opportunity to do that is Monday and Wednesday, 10 a.m. to usually no later than 12 noon. And on Tuesday and Thursday, if we're doing an open broadcast at 7 p.m., you're welcome to join us there. And I'm going to try to bring back a rare Saturday morning Boogie with Bull at 10 o'clock. They won't be as rare if I bring them back as often as I would like to. And that may be a proving ground for people who aren't sure as to whether or not they want to be part of a weekly broadcast or on a panel of a weekly broadcast. And I only say that because Randy Rhodes and I, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, tried one just for the hello of it. And we actually had, I think, 134, 135 people watching it live. I have no idea what it is now. I'd have to go back and watch it. Facebook changed how they do the numbers. Our numbers increased dramatically, not dramatically for Facebook, but dramatically for us. And if you can watch it live, it's more fun to watch it live. If you can't watch it live, then watch it when you can, watch it where you can. If it's not on Facebook when you want to be able to watch it, and it would be better that it's on someplace else, let us know, and we will do our best to get it over there. Anyway, this is the part of the program where I tell you, you have been watching Boogie with Bull Wednesday Morning Caffeine, the Hump Day broadcast, a copyrighted presentation of the No Budget Broadcasting Company. If you want to be part of a broadcast, like I said, an hour before we go live, so 9 o'clock for a 10 o'clock morning caffeine, and 6 o'clock for a Tuesday night or Thursday night live, and or even 9 o'clock for a rare Boogie with the Bull Saturday morning broadcast. And just let me know, or we'll put the link in the live chat if we wanted to leave it open for anyone and everyone to come join us. The only thing I remind you is that I will remind you, don't do anything stupid while you're on a broadcast, because if you do, you'll get blocked and you won't be able to come back. And we don't want to do that. We just like having a whole lot of fun. It's too serious at times for this, but we just want to have fun, inform people, entertain people, enlighten people, and just show that the Biden regime is done. Joe Biden is done as president. It's time to bring back Donald Trump and let him finish what he started. And that's all I really have to say. Robert Brunson, you are what we call the under the wire person. You just came back under the wire as I was about to close the broadcast. So I actually, rather than saying good morning, I think we'll say good afternoon. Let me type this one again. And Robin. There. Okay. All right. So good afternoon, Robin Brunson, and everybody else who watched. I'm glad that you did. And we will see you on the next Boogie with Bull, which should be tomorrow night at 7 p.m. So until then, live well and prosper. Terry Gaines, I see you there. And thank you for watching too. 10 a.m. is when we start, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Friday we have Alan, but not Alan. We have Bill Muckler on for Red Friday, and Bill Muckler's commentary when it is available. And other than that, I'm tongue-tied, which means I'm probably hungry. I got a blueberry muffin that I've been looking at since we went live. I got a dog and cat that want to eat as well. So everybody's going to wake up. Everybody's going to shake it off and eat and get ready for the rest of the day. Thank you for watching.